This week in a special edition of the Endeavor Online, we're going to take a look at Killing Them Softly this week, as well as we're going to round up our whole movie list of all of 2012.
And this week for our online edition, the movie we have chosen, which just came out this week, was Killing Them Softly. I personally went into it thinking that it was going to be a lot more action-packed, especially with Brad Pitt. I walked into it, and after seeing a couple of really kind of cool kind of action scenes, half of it was like kind of a dull dialogue for most of it, and I actually almost nodded off and went to sleep. I almost did a little bit. Yeah, overall, for me, it was just too boring.
Yeah, you know, I thought it was pretty good. Like you said, it wasn't that exciting, but I thought it was really well done and very realistic in that sense. But other than that, not a fantastic movie. I'd give it, I'll give it 2.5 out of 5. So first we're going to take a look at our top 5 and bottom 5 to start off our roundup of the whole year of movies. For my top 5, actually a three-way tie at number 5, I'm going to go with Cabin in the Woods because I thought it was an excellently done horror movie and it was actually very interesting. Safety Not Guaranteed, which I thought was charming and kind of out of the blue. I hadn't heard much about it. And Dark Knight Rises. There was a lot of hype about this movie. It was still a good movie. It just didn't quite measure up, but still it cracks my top 5 for the year. At number 4, I have Seven Psychopaths. I thought this movie was great. I'm a big fan of McDonagh and his film In Bruges, so I really like this movie. I think you should check it out. Number 3, I have Looper. I thought Looper was really well done, really cool to watch. I thought it was acted well, so definitely it makes my top 5 this year. At number 2, I have Argo. Really well done movie. Ben Affleck really outdid himself. It was fun to watch. The tempo was perfect throughout the whole thing. Definitely could be a Best Picture nominee and a possible winner. And finally at number 1, I have Life of Pi, which I thought was visually stunning. I thought the story was great. I was sitting there afterwards for an hour and a half thinking, new things, new philosophies about the movie. So definitely gets you thinking. Really great movie all in all, and it's my number 1 pick this year.
And for my top 5, at number 5, I had Pitch Perfect. I thought, I went into it kind of thinking that it was almost kind of like a chick flick, and even though it was, I was laughing hysterically. There was some parts in there that still to this moment still make me kind of giggle a little bit because it's really funny. At number 4, because I am kind of a comic nerd, I love the Avengers. I thought, especially though the other movies I saw previously, that tied in with it. It was wonderful. It had amazing action-packed scenes, really funny, and overall, just loved it. Third is Looper, like Mitch was saying. It's just so shocked of how well that movie was really done. It's hard to even say one bad thing about that movie. You can't even tell that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is even the main character. He looks so closely to Bruce Willis, like a very young Bruce Willis. Just the acting was phenomenal, writing was phenomenal. It's just such a great movie. For the next one, I picked Lawless. I thought the movie was so neat with some of the characters that they had in there. Shia LaBeouf, I'm not a big fan of him, but I thought he was really good, especially the character that he played. Lots of cool action scenes, a non-stop action, on-your-seat thriller. I loved it. Writing was great, well directed, and beautifully acted. My first pick, which I think should be Best Picture nominee, and I think in my mind should win it, is Argo. Argo definitely shows Ben Affleck's true talents as a director instead of an actor. At the same moment he was the main actor and main focus in that movie, I felt as though he showed that even though being the main character in the movie, he allowed everyone else to share the spotlight with him and really told the tale as factual as he could and really shine the light on us as Canadians, and I think it's everyone should definitely go see it.
My bottom 5 for this year, at number 5, I have Here Comes the Boom. This is actually not a terrible movie. I tend to not see movies if I think I'm not going to like them, so this wasn't an awful movie, but it definitely wasn't good. A couple laughs at the expense of their lead characters falling down and getting hurt, but other than that, not a great movie. Number 4, I have The Possession. This movie failed to scare me in any way, and the ending left you feeling a little bit like, why number 3, I have the Lorax. This was a frustrating movie. A political message doesn't really need to be sent through Dr. Seuss, and it just ended up being a ridiculous sing-along, pretty much. So I really didn't like the movie. At number 2, I have Silent Hill. We went to see this one for our Halloween edition, and I can't find much to say good about it. There was some visuals that were interesting, but other than that, no, I didn't see a lot that I liked about it. Number 1, I have End of Watch. A lot of people like this movie. It's only number 1 for me because I might be the only person I've talked to who absolutely hated it. I thought it was cliche. I thought the concept was ridiculous. And overall, I just thought it was a really bad movie. So that's my bottom 5 for this year.
Okay, and regrettably, these are my bottom 5. At number 5, Big Red Dawn, even though it's a newer movie. It's a remake from the old one in the 80s. And I definitely felt as though it was almost like an innovative thing when the first one came out. Really cool action scenes, and I really felt like this one is just really dumbed down compared to the what they could have done with it. For number 4, that's my boy. Of course, this wasn't my boy. It was pretty awful. That was with Adam Sandler, and his movies are getting worse and worse. This definitely was not as bad as Jack and Jill, but it was no star-studded performance by either one of them. Twilight was my 3rd. Overall, the franchise is pandered to the teenage girl audience, and I felt as though they're so afraid to even, especially with the vampire type style, they're so afraid to kill anybody off whatsoever because they're afraid of what the girls might think of their precious Bella or their precious Edward. Overall, it didn't sparkle with me. Number 2, I picked Silent Hill as well. Just it's for a horror flick. It was pretty awful. I mean, it wasn't scary, and the whole plot was just terrible. Killing Him Softly was my number 1 bottom 5, the worst movie. It was, like I mentioned earlier, I was just falling asleep during it. It was such a big disappointment. I was going to go into it and thought this is going to be amazing, and flopped.
Yeah.
This holiday season, we're taking a break until our next edition in January. So I'd like to take it upon you guys to go out and see some movies and tell us what you think of them by tweeting ENDOMM on my mind page. Tell us what you thought of these following movies. The much anticipated Hobbit. I know I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait for it. Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained looks really cool. Les Miserables.
As well as the comedies Parental Guidance, This Is 40, and Guilt Trip.
That wraps up our special online edition for this week's of Movie Reviews in the Endeavor. Come back again in January and we'll have more for you.